Oh, where is that shadow coming from? Shadow's weird. I gotta. Yeah, all right. Where is that shadow coming from? That shadow's coming from right here. Okay, let's move that over there. It's a little better. My lighting got moved around. Hey there, Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. Hope you're having a great day. It's Tuesday morning, and I'm jazzed up. We got a lot of stuff to work on. Actually, not a lot. We got a couple things in the feedback loop this morning. It's not a really busy morning like it was yesterday. Boy, yesterday was a lot of fun. Go back and watch that one if you get a chance. But we've got a couple students pushing forward in the program. I want to make sure that we are getting to Shane and to Rebecca. Super excited because many of the UX students are rolling toward they're rolling full speed toward the visual components where their research begins to turn into these visual assets, and I'm super excited because I do think it's a lot to ask of people to do a lot of research when, as a society, we come in thinking about design as something that is strictly visual. And I do like to challenge that notion, but I also understand that it can be just a lot of fun to work with fonts and lay things out on a screen and to try to connect with people. I think it's a lot of fun for us, and I hate to keep people away from that for too long, because then I feel like kind of some of the joy of creating these interfaces is lost. But for Kara, for Eve, for Luigi, you're coming out of the fog. You're coming out of the research fog, and you're beginning to apply what you've learned. So I'm super excited for all of you. That said, Shane and Rebecca are at a different spot in the world, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's go ahead and jump into it. Actually, we'll come over here. We'll start here with Rebecca. She is currently, for those that might have followed our breakdown from yesterday, I'm going to pull up. She and Shane both are operating in the world of their case studies, and she's got a question here. It says, this is literally a question for feedback, the feedback loop. For the headers, should I keep them pink or remain consistent with the Okta case study in lowercase DK gray, dark gray? To be honest with you, I think that I really believe that either is fine. I prefer to have a set style for all of my case studies, where I wouldn't use the pink header in Okta. So I would be trying to streamline the two to get them in alignment. One of the things that I was talking with Rebecca about last night, or yes, last night for her, noontime for me, was that her portfolio really needs to be something that's easy to reproduce really fast. And a lot of the stuff that we've done here, it's really frankly straightforward. I mean, I think it's minor updates to get Silicandy into a form that's pretty close to Okta. But this is where we're at right now, because she needs to get this case study into her portfolio so she can continue to apply for jobs. One of the things that's interesting that I can share, or I think I can share, Rebecca will tell me if I can't, is that she got a lot of positive feedback from the first version of her portfolio, but a lot of people didn't see her as a designer who had been doing this for a while, because she only had a case study from like boot camp landia, as I will refer to it. It was a boot camp case study, but she has this other project, Silicandy, which was years of physical product development that was not in her portfolio. So so the my take on it is by not having this case study in the portfolio, she was not seen as nearly as um, experienced as she really is. So my focus for Rebecca is to take Silicandy, get it into Okta, get it into the realm of Okta as fast as possible, so that we can get this thing out. Now, one thing I'll say is that you know Okta was designed on an oddly sized grid. Silicandy went wider from the beginning, so we need to normalize between the two of those. Um, I'm gonna default to Okta for now, but I do think that this is where we begin to this is really where we begin to merge the two ideas together. And with that said, let's go ahead. I think we've talked about the headers, and my take is the headers. You keep them consistent. If you would use pink over here in Okta, fine. If you want to keep them lowercase, fine. It's really your call. I wouldn't have them different. I would keep them consistent. What's different here are the headers. Like Okta is the logo and the phones, and Silicandy is the big image and the pink. I think that by itself injects a lot of uniqueness to the design. Let's go ahead and hop over into VS Code though, because I've already pulled in the changes, and obviously, Rebecca dropped in a lot of changes since we last looked at this. I'm going to go ahead and spin up Gatsby Develop. No, it's not Gatsby Develop, Chris, because this isn't a Gatsby project. I'm going to go ahead and go live with this. Yes, I have to remember, not every project is built the same. So we've went live with this. There is Okta. If I say read case study for Silicandy, that takes me to nowhere. Okay, so that takes me to Medium, which, as you can see, Medium is really slow. So this is pretty much the difference between a Medium case study and like having a case study that you create is literally, this is the Medium case study, and this is the portfolio case study. Oh my goodness, it's like a different world over here when you have the ability to create for yourself. But let's see how we can get this sorted out, because I know that it's in here. Let's go look at this. So in your index.html, and let's go ahead and get that view, toggle the word wrap on. There we go. I'm going to close up some of these things because we don't need, like, there's the wrapper, and here's that's the Okta hero, and okay, so yeah, that's the main, and it looks like this should be here. I'm just trying to, like, some of your divs are just kind of all over. It's like there's an extra div here too. I'm trying to sort out where that one could be coming from. So here's a div, there's a div, this is the div. This appears to be like an extra div. It's just like here. I'm gonna save that. See if I broke anything. Sometimes you'll have extra divs just hanging out, but oh, I think I see what the issue is. So right now, Silicandy really needs to be, yeah, I want to move it. Needs to be here inside of case studies. So it wasn't there before. Let's see if I just broke everything. Also, over here on your index.html, we could come in. So that's the current project. Here is Silicandy, tangible product design. So I'm not going to replace your case study just yet because I want to make sure this doesn't show up live before it's ready to go. But I do want to track down whether it's going to show up in the case studies folder. So there's Okta, and now we'll type in silicandy.html, and yes, it appears that Silicandy is now in here. I just want to make sure Okta is showing up as a full. Yep. Okay, so Okta, Silicandy. All right, so we've got Silicandy. It looks like all what you did is you came in and let's shrink your footer down. Let's shrink this header down. So you just kind of dropped in. The main header, and so this Okta image right now, it's kind of the hero unit. Let's go ahead and look at this from the perspective of images. I want to see if Silicandy is in here. Silicandy logo. I see Silicandy logo. I don't necessarily know. Maybe it's called placemat. I thought I saw placemat. Yeah. So here's placemat. Nope, it's not the placemat image. Trying to figure out what the name of this image could be, because that's Silicandy. That's the Silicandy logo big. Okay, that's you. Yeah, I don't necessarily know what the name of this image is, so I'm gonna have to hop over here and just search for it real quick. Silicandy. Let's just search Rebecca. Okay, so when I can't sort out what this is, I have to come through here and I have to just, let's just sort through. We're basically looking for Rebecca's Silicandy logo, not logo, but the background image, because we want to get that in there, but without knowing what she's named these files. This is also something where I would encourage you, like, you've got these buttons that we just don't need. I'd encourage you to delete those away. They just kind of they don't add a lot of weight. They're not showing up on your screen, but they are slowing down the search process. Come on. It's got to be in here, right? Okay, so unfortunately, Rebecca, I don't have that image, and I don't want to necessarily just export it from Figma. So that image for Silicandy, which is seen looking at this, right now the way that your hero unit is structured, it's kind of wrapping. So if I come back and I'm just going to draw some divs here so we can kind of see this structure. So you have this, let's put nope, I don't need an effect, I need a stroke. Let's put this like a 10 so it's easy to see. So this is like your section, and right now your section kind of contains here, and then you have a div that kind of lives inside of that, like so. Well, in this case, your that div that lives inside goes down quite a bit, so it like starts from the top. So this section that you're creating is really more like that. And what's interesting is you also have this image. So the image is there. In terms of layering, the image is really like, let's go ahead and do this, and let's multiply it down, and we'll give it some crazy color so it's easy to pick out. So we'll use this green. All right. So that image is probably like, I'll draw my section and then I'll put an image inside of that section. I will not put this image into the background of the section, and that's mainly because I'll probably like put an absolute position on it. But this box, the Silicandy box, I will likely so I will likely bring this, if I can get the, there we go. So I'll make that one gray, or I'll make it yellow just so it's easier to see. Multiply that down. You can see right now it kind of goes behind, and actually I want to lighten it. The lightening didn't work great. We'll just put normal on it. I really want this to come to the foreground, and I need a color that's, so I really want this to be in front of that green, and like let's just make this normal so you can kind of see it. So we need this red to live above that green. I'm trying to sort out why. Oh, it's because it's set to multiply, Chris. So essentially this is the design. You're probably going to want to use it like a Z-index to lift that red above the green. You'll have a section that's going to wrap the whole thing, and then really, this width should be set up on set it up on a CSS grid width, and you'll have this extra column kind of hanging out here over to the side. We'll call this blue, and you'll notice that this design will replicate down the page. Like, so the next one is here, and then these will flip, and I'm not designing this exactly, so I'm just really quickly putting it together. But these will flip as you go down the page, and then they'll do it, actually they stay the same, and then they'll do it again the other way. So this design will then come down, and so on. Like you've got basically two grid shapes that are kind of managing this all the way down. So for you, I think that this is a, it's like section left, section left, section right, section left. It's the same dynamic, and it's just kind of going back and forth. And by, we can look over here to Okta, and you've kind of got that dynamic here set up already. I want to look at the actual Okta case study. Another thing to look out for here is you've got Okta case study up here in the top. So in your Silicandy case study, you definitely want this to say Silicandy case study in the head. From here, though, this is really where you've got this image in the background. I think that image is fine for right now. We're going to set up a div here for and we'll call this class equals hero text, and hero text is going to take in all of this information, and unfortunately I don't know why that's not wrapping. We'll go to view and I'll toggle word wrap back on. Okay, great. So hero text will take in all of this information. The difference with hero text is it's going to be, hero text is going to have that pink in the background. We'll worry more about like exactly what pink that is and whatnot in a bit. But the big thing that I want to do right now is I want to try to structure this in such a way that that pink extends beyond the image. So let's look at this and try to pick it apart. This also is a great opportunity to think about, and I just wanted to make sure that, yeah, that I had a issue yesterday with the mic, so I wanted to make sure the mic was working before I go through an hour of this and we kind of lose our spot, or we're not actually recording. But this is a great opportunity to think about like naming conventions. Like this is Okta Hero. And that's great when you only have one case study. But when this becomes 2 case studies and 3 case studies, this is where we need to really start thinking about our naming conventions, or reconsider our naming conventions. We should think about our naming conventions the first time through, but you were building your portfolio for the first time. That's overthinking it a lot of times, but a lot of times it's too much to think about. Now that you're extending this to the second case study, this is an opportunity to come back and rethink those concepts. So hero text here, if we just come in here and say, okay, hero text is going to, let's look at the style. It's fine. Hero text. We don't have anything called hero text. So I'll say dot hero text. We're going to say background pink. We're just putting it out there. It's pink. I just want to see if it's going to show up. And when we look at this, yeah, we get the pink right away. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's what we want to see. Now, for hero text, we want to now say that this is display grid, and display L grid is not going to work. So that's display grid, and it's going to have grid column row. Oh, I'm sorry. Grid template columns. It's grid template columns, and that for this case it's going to be 2FR, 1FR. We may come back and adjust that. So now you see it's giving us like a 2-column design, and that may seem weird, but it's because we have not properly grouped things together yet. The other thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that this has a width on it that makes sense. So let's go ahead and inspect this element and see just exactly what's happening with the shape. So hero text, which is what this is, doesn't have a width on it. So that means the width on this is probably coming from this main overlay. And this main overlay has our lovely padding of 10 vertical width. Does that change at some point? And it does appear to. So now we've got to see, okay, so what was Flex doing here? Okay, so this was I'm going to center up on the background. And I don't necessarily need to do that. we also want to look at, okay, so this is overlay. There's a lot of things here that we probably don't need anymore because the design is changing. So one of those things may be overlay. One of those things says height 100%. That's all related to this whole centering concept. Padding is that. We may or may not come back to that. The real trick here is for our, this Okta logo. This Okta logo isn't necessary for Silicandy, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Save it. Okay, so that's gone. Also, the concept of this main wrapper. So there's Okta hero, the overlay, the main content. And then we get down to the actual div. I'm watching the chat to see if anybody's coming in with questions. All right, so as we're working through, let's go ahead and get rid of main content. And I hate getting rid of that because I know that it's my crutch. I'm just gonna center content up and it's a snap. But this design is different. And this design is going to really be driven by the length of the content, if we're being completely honest. So what I want to do is I want to come through and I want to start thinking about content first. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to have everything over here in one particular div. The other div really isn't there. Like this other thing, there's nothing in our design. When we look at this design, there's nothing over here. Okay? So Rebecca, I'm counting on you to get that image sorted out. We're going to work on this bit right here. All right? And what that means is Meet Silicandy is going to go right here. That's Meet Silicandy. And actually, if I'm being completely honest with myself, that the Meet Silicandy is probably not the intro. The Silicandy was a wholesale company, is the intro. This is like an H2 or an H1 really. The Meet Silicandy, that's the H1. So now when I come back and we look at this, we've got Meet Silicandy and the H1's here, and it looks like it's just completely filling this screen, and we'll figure out how to break this in a second. So there's the div, and here's that text, and it looks to me like, it's just going like the full width, or it's like half and half for some reason. So we've got to get to the bottom of that, because I definitely don't want this to have to like be half and half. So we'll come back and sort that out in a moment. This main content, I thought we deleted main content off of this. Maybe we didn't. So let's get rid of that. So there you are. Now it's right up top. Let's go ahead and that's the wide container, but the wide container is really up here. Okta hero, the overlay. So this is where, there's something unique about Silicandy hero, that we can come back to. Right now I'm going to say that this really needs to push down. There might even be an extra div in here that we don't need. So let's adjust this back. We had some serious divage going on there. Also, let's go ahead and pull in. Let's go ahead and pull in the, say p tag for this additional information that you had. So we'll come back to the my role stuff. I'm not worried about that at the moment. You're probably going to need multiple paragraphs here. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at this. So it's getting longer, but you can also see it's like getting chopped off. So there's probably some sort of hidden, overflow hidden. There it is. So overflow hidden is turned on Okta Hero. So this is where we have to really begin to think about. All right, so is Okta Hero really what we need? And the answer I'm going to go with is no, because Okta Hero. Well, it's interesting because Okta Hero could be beneficial to us as a background image, but we don't want our background drawn that way. So and there's a height on it. So this height that's stuck on it is a problem. So there's just lots of issues with Okta Hero. I don't necessarily know if that's a class we really need. So here we have Silicandy, and now our box is kind of going down, and we can come in and add another section below. We've got the pink. It's the pink's covering everything though. And what we really need to do is we need to have an image back here. We need the image that you have, Rebecca. So I'm gonna come through, and we're gonna call this what are we gonna call this? We don't need the overlay. So the overlay is that background color that kind of, it's really a fixer. It's gonna make everything okay. Let's close that. Got rid of the overlay, so this div is gone. And now let's go ahead and measure this, move that back in. So we've got wide container, and that's like holding the shape. We haven't figured out what we're going to do with this class, but we do know we have an image. And for better or worse, I'm just going to call in Okta just to hold some space back there. So this will be Okta Mockup. Is that what it was? Okta Mockups 2. We'll just call it Okta Mockups 2. I think if I remember correctly, there was a reason why we were using that. So we'll come back and we'll say images / Okta mockups 2.png. I'm looking at it again. Okta mockups 2.png. All right, so we'll save it. Come back over. That's broken. It probably needs like the ... No. ... / There it is. All right, so right now it's like it looks all brokey, and that's okay. That's okay. We definitely need to, this image is actually is not very good for this because it's hard for us to see because it's not like a square image like the one you have inside of your case study. So I'm gonna hop back through here. I might just pull in mood board just to give us an image that is reasonable to work with. Like we can see like 4 corners on it. Come on. Yeah, so we'll use mood board as a stand-in. Mood board IMG, is it big? Is it big PNG? Okay. All right. So let's say mood board. No, I can't remember what it's called. Mood board IMG bigly. Yes. I made a Trump joke. All right, so there's that, and that's fine. This image really has some. We need it to. Well, there's a number of things that we could do here with it. I'm going to go ahead and just mess with it right here on screen. Let's go ahead and make it position absolute. And you'll see that it's it looks like our text went completely away. It's still there, I promise you. It's right here. What we have to do is we have to say, okay, this image class is going to have z index of 1, z index of 100. Okay, come on. All right, so let's move this image to z index of 0. And okay, come on. Typically speaking, that would work fine. Okay, there's Silicandy again. Position fixed. Okay, so now it's in the background, and that's great. Z index -1. Okay, I had to go negative with it. All right, so now, like it's fixed, we don't want it to be fixed. I just want it to be absolute. That way it scrolls away with it. And as you can see, that image is huge. That image is huge. So if we really came in here, I could, because I'm wanting to use the div to basically crop the image. Class equals Scylla hero image, and we'll come through and I'll give it some. So here's hero text. I'll say Scylla hero image height is, let's say, 300 pixels. Overflow hidden. And now you can see like it's there, but the problem is we lost all of our special attributes. So I'm going to say position absolute. So that keeps it there. And now we will say position absolute z index -1. And now Silicandy's in front of it, which is great. I think we want it to be deeper, like we'll say something like 800 pixels. So it's deeper. And as we go wider, you can see like the image. And imagine, Rebecca, this is your image that you're gonna after this throw that image in the background. Really, what we need to do to make this match up now is we need like this pink of Silicandy to move down away from its current position, so that it now gets this overlap feel. So the hero text for Silicandy is right here, and I'm going to put some big bad margin to the top of that. So I'll say margin top, and that margin top is going to be like 300 pixels. And hey, look, it magically looks like the thing. No, it doesn't. But it is now moved down. You know, and I'm rethinking this grid width. Because like part of me is like, okay, well, what if I just put like, I don't know, an empty div over here, And again, I'm just riffing right now to try to get this width right. And I think part of my problem is I put that pink on the back of all the hero text when I just need it on one side of it. So let's come back over and let's get rid of that pink. This is gonna look weird when you look at it, because like, wait, Chris, that doesn't work. That's why I am going to come up with a style called this div needs to have a style class, and this will be pink back. And I'm going to come over to Octa and figure out what that pink is. I know that it's a gradient, but I'm just going to grab the darkest of it. There it be. And now I will come back over to our case study, and we will, in this class of pink back, we will create background color, hashtag that, and now we've got that big, bold pink background. Obviously, we have a lot of other work to do here, but now we're starting to get into that realm. The other thing that I want to do anywhere where I have that pink back is I need a color of white. And that didn't work immediately, so I need to sort out why. And I do want to make sure that that's going. Okay, so that's fine. How is that structured? Pink back. So if your H1 and P's are already colored, if they've been declared a particular color, which they have, the H1 has a particular color. Now I've got to overwrite that, and the way that I would overwrite that is I would simply say, all right, that's fine. Let's do dot pink back H1. And now you can see that that is in fact working. So I'll just copy that over, pink back P. And now all of those are taking that form. The other thing I want to do is when I look at pink back, I want to think about padding. Let's just say 100 pixels. I'm just riffing. Okay, so now we've got that measured in. It's measured in way too much, so maybe it just is 20. And now this is beginning to take shape. This width, you know, Rebecca, you bring in your image, you put it on top of this. You can get into the nuances of the, you know, RGBA. You can get into the nuances of gradient. I think that's all fine. But now, as you continue down the page, sorry, I've got to get rid of that. As you continue down the page, now you have a design that you can begin to utilize over and over and over again, because this hero text really, it doesn't have the pink. It, like, you know, I want to go through and I want to kind of better understand how Octa, like, how is Octa doing its back and forth. Well, it has two column center. It has two call center. There's got to be like a two call left, two call right, two call center. There's a lot of two call centers. Two call center, two call center. Yeah, so you got a lot of two call centers here. It's hard for me to believe that you don't have any others. Two call right. So two call right means that you probably have a two call left as well. I'm going to go ahead and just bring that in, and instead of hero text, I'm going to say to call right just to see what happens to our design. Okay, so to call right, you can see like it moves, it shifts everything to a narrow column to the right, but it also like takes the text all the way to the top of the image. We don't want that, but it does tell us there's a grid that from Okta that we can leverage. So I'll say to call left, and that gets us back to our wide measure. And then we come back in with to call left and then hero text, and that pushes it down. Let's see what else is going on with hero text again. So hero text, I don't need the grid. I just need the margin top. And that's what's going to get you started. So from here, if we're looking at Silicandy, we've made it through our hero, right? So the hero is here. Now we need to start that new section, and I'm even curious, do I even need that extra div there? And I did not. So let's close this section, and now let's start a new section. And this section's going to be another. This is another one of those to call left. So we'll say div class to call left. And we also want to point out what section this is. So this is the business, right? And then we come back to call left, div. Sorry, I do want a div, but inside of that div, I'm going to create a p tag, and just for grins, I'm going to just slap in all of that text for business, because I just want to see if it will show up properly. And it shows up, but it's not inside of the container, which means that we're lacking wide container. So let's pull wide container back in. To call left, wide container, and now it's lining up. So this grid is working for us. You can imagine if in this div is the text, and the other div is the Silicandy image, logo plus image, and that's really where I'm looking for you to come in and begin. Like that image that is showing up right here needs to be in this second div, like the logo, the image. And I've showed you how to draw in, I've showed you again how to draw that image in. I'm looking for you now to take the second section where we have business. I've kind of got you started here. I need you to come through, give me the label, give me the logo, give me the photo, and then once you get that done, let's come down and do the competition. All right? And if this is to call left, so this is to call left, bigger section to the left, this would be to call right. Okay? So, got some stuff here in daily stand-up. Tejil, I'm sure it says slow moving, but I really do think the component-based approach to design systems is the way to go. It makes it easier to update later. Yeah, Fonzo, I'm excited to see your working in product design submission. Like, bring that through. Totally ready to take a peek at that with you. Oh, Shane Williams, happy birthday. I don't think I fully even saw that the first time around, which oddly enough, brings me to Shane Williams. And Shane has been working on his case study. I just want to make sure that I'm seeing this correctly. Stuck with the last portion of the case study, and could use some help just with like feedback on the general layout. So we've looked at the layout here before. What I'm interested in is I want to see the depth of the assets that you've created. And as you can see, Shane has he's got temporary buttons. He's got looks like link, cards, and I can kind of see like where like here. That's pretty clear. Like you just you created a card for the persona, and then you were smart enough to duplicate it. Images, so that's just to hold place for an image. Navigation, so that's like probably the footer if I had to guess. Down here, navigate, nav bar, typography. So I really feel like you've got a really nice set of components here. So let's take a look at this case study. And I'm trying to, this looks a little. I'm beginning to see just high level movement up on the right, which makes me believe. And if I would just read the actual titles of these files, you can see one is 11/13/20. That's the old 11/19/20. Hey, guess what? Today's the 19th. I bet Shane wants me to look at that one. All right, so Shane, I kind of like this. You kind of reserve the sans serif or the serif for your name. It feels classic, but while you're still using the sans serif for the copy. I don't know if that's really like the finished version, but I definitely I don't know if you're done with it, but I definitely like the step in that direction. It feels right. Particularly with yours being more, I don't want to pigeonhole you into being research, but accessibility and research does seem to be like your thing. I think it's a good play. Introduction, problem, solution. I definitely like this sans the shadow. Anytime you've got a shape that's like, it's not a box, don't try to make it a box with a shadow. So I like the movement to here. Like these are okay. I get why these are shadows because they're boxes and you're kind of trying to make them separate from the white background. Stakeholder interviews, and for clarity, Shane and I have read most of the stuff in previous weeks, so I'm really just looking at the design, findings and implications, interviews. Sketch prototype. These are always. This is always what I want to see. I want to see that progression. Original redesign. Sketching concepts. Shane's sending in a message here. That's what I want to work with. You'll see the hero alternatives. There's a vibe I'd like to go for, but not sure if it's too much. Let's see the hero alternatives. Hmm. All right. So the first thing I gotta do is I gotta see this without. Um, it feels pretty aggressive. Shane Williams, the design. Let's see. Let me just tweak this one. Um, I don't know. It's weird. Shane, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself like, what if, what if I set this up in JavaScript and I just had this rotating through to where every 10 seconds or so it just alternated. I am Shane Williams. I am a designer. I am in Durham, North Carolina. Like, do, 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 do. Um, like, like a timer. Like that. That's kind of what I see. My other, like, black and red is very powerful. I do. There there is a concern with there is an accessibility. Yeah, you laugh at the JavaScript, but it, like, I'm thinking in motion now. Also, frankly, you could do it as a GIF. You could just like load a GIF in there, and like just have it as a running image. Um, I you know, and you can just make that in Figma or Photoshop even. And God, I realize I just said that. I just said that. I don't want type to be in Photoshop ever, 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 ever. So but I could help you figure out a script to do that. I, off the top of my head, I don't necessarily know how I would write it, but there's like lots of ways to get to this. But I see it in motion when I look at this. But the bigger issue I come to is I want to look at this frame, and you know, let's why are my I am not sure why my okay, there we go. I wasn't sure. Let's use colorblind. And yep, create views, man. Think it may have created them somewhere else. Oh yeah, sorry. It did all sorts of weird. It did all sorts of weirdness on me. I'm gonna copy this down here. Okay, so now I can come through and do colorblind. Create it all. Okay, so now let's look at this. I'm always nervous about I'm always nervous about the red and black, but it looks like it's okay. Like, this is my biggest worry, is that when it's red, if somebody's colorblind, the Shane Williams goes down to virtually nothing. For that reason, alone, I would if you were going to do this, I would flip it around to I am Shane Williams, and then let that be the red. And I'm not sure if this has got like yeah, it's got a stroke on it. I'd get rid of the stroke. Yeah, I think I would flip it around to read the I am in the red, the Shane Williams in the white, mainly because when you begin to look at this for somebody who's colorblind, that red, the IM stands clear, but the red falls back. And that's just something you have to think about. And I think it particularly applies to you because you're supposed to be the accessibility guy. So I think like I like the approach. I like the approach. You can do it in motion. You can do it whatever. But I would flip the order. IMs in red, the identifiers in white. Not because I dislike it the other way, but because when we begin applying the accessibility tools to it, your name and what you do and where you're from, the three things that are most important are the hardest to see for somebody who's colorblind. So that would be something that I would think about. It's not like a clear cut, hard and fast. You can't do it the other way. It's just a thought. Yeah, and you even talk about accessible solutions through complex problems, through inclusive design. So I would, and it also you might get some questions like, "Hey, why'd you put your name in white instead of red?" And you can say, "Well, from an accessibility perspective, yeah, I think that you have some things here that you could definitely work with, but I like it. I like it. I think it's pretty strong. It's again though it is aggressive. And it's not aggressive because it's red and black. It's aggressive because it's all caps. All right, this this up and down or all lowercase is less aggressive. I mean, it's just the typography is aggressive. I wouldn't go with the outline. That's hard to read. It's kind of funny that sort of thing feels like motion to me. But I think that I think this is the stronger way to go about motion if you're going to do it. So, just my 2 cents. Or actually, well, one of these two. I mean, you get the idea. But that's just my 2 cents. I think that you've got some definite options here. Just think from an accessibility standpoint on anything with red and black. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this has been helpful. I really do like the approaches that I'm seeing from everybody. I love the hard work I'm seeing from the UX crew. I'm really excited to get them into visual design. Oh man, I am so ready to do some like hardcore visual design from the ground up. I'm ready to do some like ground up visual design, because a lot of the back and forth that we do with regard to like our discussion over here about the background images and like color overlays and typography, that's stuff that I can hammer out with you as we are working through the exercises in the visual design program. I think you'll come to this ready to go, because we've already discussed it with so many people that are in the career mode. I'm kind of catching you after you've already been with a mentor, you've already gone through a program somewhere, and I'm trying to fill in the missing pieces. And this is helpful for like the people that are coming after you, obviously, because it's reminding me, oh wow, I need to talk to them about X, Y, and Z. But I think that those people that are coming after, that are going through the full program, you're going to have an easier time going through your portfolio and your case studies, because we're going to have already covered that information by the time you get there. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, if I can find my way back to the editor, yes. Without further ado, I am Chris Courtney. I am toast. My throat is kind of eaten up. I hope I haven't caught what Rebecca has. I know she's only 10 time zones away. But I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday. Looking forward to seeing Melanie and Kara later this evening, and others that may jump on the calendar between now and then. Otherwise, I will chat with all of you again on Wednesday. Take care.